Hello, this is Coach Tim Kamsel, and I'm your host for the Self-Made is a Myth, Make a Difference Together show, where we're talking with successful business owners to hear their stories of the journey to building their business. And because we know that achieving success in business is not something we can do on our own, we're recognizing the folks that helped us excel. I'm excited to have a fellow Indiana business owner from the computer software industry with us today. My guest is the owner of Gogalex, located in Indianapolis. He enjoys spending time with his family and also dabbles in day trading. Please join me in welcoming Alex to the show.
Pleasure to be here, Tim. Thank you.
Awesome, Alex. Well, hey, let's have you start with introducing yourself and tell us a little bit of your personal story.
Well, let's see. I usually start where I'm from because you also do that way because you're from Canada. I'm originally from Romania, and I came to the U.S. to go to college around 2004. And then I also ended up getting married the day before I graduated, and I became a U.S. citizen in 2016. And I started my own business in 2017.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit about your family and hobbies.
Well, I have a wonderful wife that's been very supportive of all my entrepreneurship. Her name's Emilee, and I have two children, Gabe and Drew. Gabe is 9 years old, and Drew is 6 years old. And they're all into gaming, and they also like customizing their games. So maybe they'll become software developers too someday. And for hobbies, I do spend some time with day trading, like you mentioned, and I enjoy reading about science fiction and science in general.
Fantastic. Awesome. Alex, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share?
I try thinking about this, and I'm not sure. I don't think I have a good one. No.
No worries.
We can skip this one.
Sounds good. All right. So tell us a little bit about how your business came about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
Well, it was a matter of timing and opportunity, really. So I started like my first job was actually sales. It wasn't anything to do with software. But even in that role, I found ways to use the data to come up with analytics to help focus the sales efforts. And after I left that first job as a salesperson, I ended up being a project analyst. So then I was spending more time with doing things with Excel spreadsheets and coming up with charts and graphs. And then I ended up being a FileMaker developer because I was kind of bored of just the spreadsheets. And that's actually when I got my first inspiration to run my own business, because when I was a FileMaker developer, I was working for DB Services, or a company by Kevin Hammond. That was a very small consulting firm at the time, only like 5 of us, kind of like Gogalex is now. And then I learned a lot about how to develop software and how to the project lifecycle, working as a team, achieving the customers' objectives and keeping them happy so they come back for more software work. After that, I wanted to expand the type of software that I do to work with other things, and I ended up working for an insurance company where I became a Qlik developer, which is actually the foundation for my company. And after working there as an in-house developer for 2 years, I actually got an offer to work for Qlik, the company that makes the software that we build applications with. And after 2 years at Qlik, I ran into a person named Mike Chizonki, who suggested that I start my own business with a client. And also have less to travel, because with Qlik there was too much it was travel. I was living out of a suitcase for 5 days a week, so it was getting old. So I decided to leave Qlik and start my own company, still doing Qlik with one client, but I was an independent contractor for the first time. And that's how Gogalex came to be, with that one client that I was referred to by Mike Chizonki. And that stayed a client for the first 4 years of the business, and then we found many more clients, and we added more people, and
Awesome.
things changed.
Yeah. Well, Alex, tell us a little bit more about Gogalex.
So Gogalex is a business intelligence solutions company. We focus on building data analytics and reporting solutions for other businesses to use their data to make the best decisions. We focus on doing things with the Qlik platform, so that would be QlikView, Qlik Sense, and NPrinting. We are expanding this year into offering solutions with other business intelligence tools like Power BI and maybe Looker, Tableau.
So what types of analytics do you help businesses with?
Well, it depends. There are common themes. So, for example, there's a lot of sales dashboards. So, like figuring out where the most sales are, what drives them, and what would be better to focus on the sales efforts, or marketing campaigns, for example, some of them. A lot of them ended up being financial dashboards, like really focused on profit and loss statements, budgeting for the year. And other times it can be things that are quite different, but they still fulfill the same operational function. So, for example, we might have a client where certain reports are created for a school district, so that the providers of services for IEPs have a good way to track and see where they are. Yeah. Or in another case, one of our clients is selling coaching for educators. And they need to keep track of their programs and the surveys that these people fill out. So there's things like this which are very different, but there's also the common theme of like, what did we sell and what sells better than the other? Sure. Or how much costs are done for here and there.
So the Marcus from the show The Profit says, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. So you're providing the ability for businesses to know their numbers quicker and more easily.
Yeah, and be able to trust what they see. So they know that it's always fresh, up to date, and you can trust it to make decisions with it.
Right. So you eliminate I remember back, in my early days where there was 4 different Excel versions of the information and the data was all different. And so you didn't know whose version was correct.
Yeah, the idea is that you have one source of truth that's using all the data that you have, and you can trust it to make decisions for your business with it.
Awesome.
And usually our clients tend to be large enterprises, but some of them are smaller, like I mentioned. They're more.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Alex, share a story of where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it, and the impact that their involvement had on you and your business.
Well, especially in the beginning, I have to say that my wife was very supportive, because it's kind of a scary thing to go from having a steady paycheck to having to worry about where's the next invoice payment come from, and when is it coming. So I would say my wife has been very supportive. My dad has been a source of inspiration, because he also started businesses or was a partner for getting other businesses started. And over time, I've also managed to gather a great team around me. I've been very lucky with the first people to add to the team to be very dependable, and also be able to provide advice even when it was beyond their role as developers. So I really don't see how things could have been successful without other people around me.
Awesome.
Even if it is just other people to be able to tell you that it's going to be okay, or that it's hard now, but it will get better someday.
Yeah, for sure. So Alex, what's been your biggest learning as a business owner?
Definitely that you have to wear a lot of hats, especially in the beginning. So all these things that in an established company already happen, and there is somebody to do it, you have to do yourself till you manage to find someone to take some of the work from you. And it's very important to delegate. always delegate.
Yes.
And finding the people to delegate to and building them up is also very important, so that they are confident and make the right decisions.
Yeah. The shift from being being an employee to becoming self-employed is huge, to your point, right? There's so much stuff when we're working for someone else that's taken care of in the background that we don't even necessarily know until we become a business owner, right? And now it's like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, we've got 1,000 different hats to wear and responsibilities and things that we don't even know how to do.
Yeah. And you also have to take the risk that you're going to make mistakes. And I made plenty of mistakes. It's just about making the mistakes fast enough that they're not so big that you can't recover from them.
So that's a great segue into our next question. We know that business success, doesn't happen in isolation. So tell us about a challenge that you had during the years and a fellow business owner who helped you to get through it.
Well, there's been many challenges, and I can't really identify one other business owners, but I can identify just people I've interacted with, or people from my past experience who I might have asked about what they would do.
Awesome.
I think the biggest challenge has been learning to not wear all the hats, to give other people responsibility, like I was saying, and growing the team so it's not a one-man show. That's really the biggest challenge. And actually, having started working with you as a business coach has been extremely helpful for that, because the materials you've given me and the advice you give me whenever I ask for it is extremely important and helps me on this journey from being self-employed to actually being a business owner.
Yes, well, I appreciate those kind words, and I have a similar sentiment. So I have a business coach as well, and I know for sure I wouldn't be here where I am today without her support and encouragement and guidance and advice. And it can be very lonely at the top, right? And oftentimes we don't have anyone to talk to. So it's great to have folks in our circle that we can reach out to. So you mentioned that there's you have a number of people that you have been able to reach out to. Are there folks or general labels of types of folks that have been helpful to you in your journey?
Yeah. So for example, currently I've partnered with another company, and Mahmoud is the owner of it, and we're going to start another sister operation basically in the U.S. and offer additional IT services. And he has been extremely helpful for helping me understand the whole concept of adding team members for various things instead of doing everything by yourself. And that is really the biggest challenge, is how do you grow at a proper rate? So not too fast, but not too slow, because then you're just going to get stuck. So like we often talk about it, you're either growing or you're dying. So I'd rather be growing.
Yes. Yeah. The other challenge that I hear often is adding overhead or head count that's not billable. And I think that's a challenge that a lot of people have in terms of how do I justify that added expense if I can't bill it out. So how have you thought about that situation?
Well, I started by adding billable people first, the services, and that's how it works. And over time, I have reduced the amount of work I am billable for. So instead, other people are billable.
Yeah.
And that gave me more time to figure out what else I'm doing that is not billable to grow the business, and how I can find people to do that as well.
Yeah.
So we now have some people that are not directly billable, but by clearing my time and finding us more work to do, then eventually it increases the revenue. That's the tricky part. I think for services, it really makes sense in the beginning to have people that you can bill out, so you can do more, you can handle more work. But you definitely have to invest in non-billable people in order to be able to have more billable work.
Yes, yes, yeah. It's the idea of, getting stuff off of our plate. Right? That the story I tell folks a lot is, hey, if your hourly rate is $100 an hour and you're doing $20 an hour jobs, then there's a huge opportunity cost, right? So better to hire somebody to
Exactly.
do those administrative activities to free you up to be able to drive the business.
Yep, and that's exactly what I'm doing now, as well as hiring more billable people. So.
Yeah. Awesome. So Alex, as you think out over the next 3 to 5 years, what do you see as some big challenges that you're going to face in reaching your goals, and who are the types of people that you're going to need to help you solve those challenges?
Well, what I really need is to build up some of my existing people to be part of the leadership team, as well as finding additional people to create the leadership team. And I think there's two ways to go about it. We either grow slowly by adding 1 or 2 people, or we do something where we add a lot of people that are also contractors, and over time they can basically handle the work while the core team can manage all this work as well as do some of it themselves.
Awesome. So Jim Rohn, I'm a huge fan of him and enjoy his books. One of his quotes that resonates with me is, "We become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with." So as you think about this and reflect on it in terms of your business, is this something that you would say is exciting or something that makes you nervous?
No, that's exciting, because the 5 people I spend the most time with are definitely people that I want to keep spending time with and be more like. So yeah, that would work.
Fantastic. So
that's a good quote. That's actually a good outlook of things.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes I hear folks say, "Well, Tim, I'm too busy to be able to surround myself with those types of people that I aspire to be like." And I say, "Okay, but can you read their book, or can you watch their video, or can you,
right. And you have to find time for that. That's actually good advice.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean we have to physically be around them, but
right.
How do we learn from them? Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you don't have these 5 people around you, it's also very important to read their books, watch their videos. Yeah. And even all the stuff from Brad Sugars, the founder of Action Coach, is really good. Sometimes I think that it's like novel stuff, but there's a lot of good lessons just thrown in there.
Yes, yeah. Isn't it interesting that some of the best lessons are the simplest, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's actually why it's always like what do we call it, the blinding flash of the obvious.
Yeah.
Like that's obvious. I should definitely do this obvious thing.
Yeah. Funny story for me is I can coach my clients on something all week, and then my coach points it out for me that I'm not doing it. Right. And so, right. Even, that it's so obvious, but yep, I can sometimes be missing doing it as well.
Yeah. It's definitely a good idea to always get more information and find time to just literally learn what other people are doing and what they have to say.
Yeah. So just wrapping up here, Alex, if there was something catastrophic that happened to your business, who would be the first person that you call, and what would that conversation be?
Ooh. Something catastrophic happened, I'd probably call you and or my wife, and then I will probably let my team know, because we're close. Yeah, actually, I'm still not at the point where I'm not there at the point where things could run without me, but we're getting there. There's more and more things that run without me.
Awesome. Fantastic. So, Alex, you've mentioned a number of people that you've been blessed with having helped you in your journey. If they were all on this show today, what would you want to say to them?
Thank you for being the best part of Gogalex.
Ah, that's awesome. Well, Alex, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you for being on the show and sharing your insights. It's great to hear all the different people who have helped you on your journey.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
All right, so for everyone who tuned in, thanks for listening to the Self-Made as a Myth show with your host, Coach Tim Campsell. Be sure to help us spread this movement by liking the show and post it on social media. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Make sure to pay it forward, and I'll see you next time. Take care.